watching Right Stand with me, Prithween Valia, and viewers, the Sanatan storm stands ignited once again with Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan not just stirring a controversy but also standing by his previous remarks. Earlier, while inaugurating a conference in Sivagiri, Vijayan claimed that the Guru, who advocated one caste, one religion and one God for people, had neither been a spokesperson nor a practitioner of the Sanatan Dharma, but had reconstructed it and proclaimed a dharma suited to the new age. Now, to give you a little context, the Guru who the Kerala Chief Minister mentioned is Sree Narayana Guru, who is highly regarded across the state for blending spiritualism with commitment to social reform. He died in 1928, but his influence can be seen till date in various parts of the state. The comments made by Vijayan are being seen as an attempt to reach out to Guru Narayan's followers at the Sivagiri pilgrimage conference, which was held in his honour. The fact that the Chief Minister opined that Guru wasn't a proponent of Sanatan since his philosophy transcended caste-based systems has evoked sharp response not just from the BJP but also from the Congress party. In fact, Congress leader V.D. Satheesan has criticised Pinarayi Vijayan's statement on Sanatan Dharma, calling it an attempt to make Sanatan Dharma exclusive to the Sangh Parivar. The BJP also in the meanwhile sees this as an insult to Sanatan and opined that it is the left's insecurity of losing the quote-unquote extremist vote bank to Congress that has pushed them to insult Sanatan Dharma once again, and dared if the left will have the courage to say this against any other religion. So is this yet another attempt to abuse Sanatan for vote bank? We take that up with our experts in just a bit, but first, the big reactions from all sides.
लगातार हिंदू आस्था पर करो चोट, क्योंकि मिलना है वोट बैंक का वोट। जिस प्रकार की टिप्पणी पिनराई विजयन ने सनातन को लेकर की है, वो जानबूझकर सोच समझकर की है। कैसे वोट बैंक को वापस लाया जाए और उसके लिए वोट बैंक की मिलेगी तब ताली जब देंगे हिंदुओं को गाली।
Now Chief Minister is trying to bring this Sanatana Dharma in the name of Sangha Parivar. Hindu and Hindutva are different. All the persons, those who are wearing this saffron, are not RSS, are not Sangha Parivar.
You see, this is Mr. V.D. Satheesan's latest attempt to appease the Sangha Parivar RSS forces, because next year the election will be there. He thinks that the people of Kerala can be fooled.
I want to quickly introduce Anil Antony, spokesperson of the BJP, along with Kamru Chaudhary, political analyst. With us is also Vivek Srivastav, leader of the left, and Desh Ratan Nigam, lawyer and political analyst, completes this panel. A very good evening to you, gentlemen. My first question is to Mr. Srivastav. Mr. Srivastav, the BJP says this is your political insecurity. The left is rattled by the fact that it is losing its voters to the Congress party, to the BJP as well. What's your opinion on this? Because not only has the Chief Minister stuck by his remarks, he's also defended it. He says, I stand by it.
Yeah. Yes, we all stand by it. The entire left stands by what Comrade Pinarayi Vijayan has said, and he has said very correctly. It is the question of ideology. Nobody is against Hinduism as a religion or the spiritual beliefs. But the moment you start using it for your own electoral gains, like the BJP has done in the past, like the Ram Mandir and other issues, we will definitely oppose it out. There's nothing wrong in it. And if we feel that any religion,
no,
be
but
it
why do you
Islam
say
or
the
Hinduism,
BJP is using it as its own political ideology, only for political gains? Where does Guru Narayan's legacy come into the picture? How do you think the BJP is quote-unquote misusing it?
Our differences with the Sangh Parivar on an ideological level are the Sangh Parivar stands for Brahmanical supremacy. Their definition of Hinduism stands with the Brahmin as the head of the state, or the head of the religion, and all other castes are subservient. And if somebody has to conduct the puja as the head priest or the pujari, or high positions like the Bhattadhish or the Honorable Shankaracharya, all of these positions more or less are reserved for one particular caste. And then that caste acts like the agent of God, and there is exploitation of the downtrodden, the Dravids, the Dalits and the backward that has been going on for centuries. So, I mean, you pray, you follow Hinduism,
are you telling
you follow
me,
whatever you want.
Srivastav, I want to go across to others, but are you telling me the definition of Sanatan for the Sangh Parivar is different than what it is for the rest of the countrymen?
Yes.
Or universally?
There is a difference in the Ram of Gandhi and there is a difference in the Ram of Godse. And that is the difference. Nobody is against the Ram of Gandhi. the way Gandhi defined Ram, the way Mahatma Gandhi worshipped Ram. But we are against the concept
Well,
of Ram as
I don't
promoted
think
by
the
Godse.
definition, the meaning, the ethos, or the
They're
significance of
absolutely
Sanatan can be changed for people's individual interests, political parties' individual inclination.
No, I'm sorry.
That's not how it works. And
Gandhi's Ram and Godse's Ram are
even if
different.
it does that give you the opportunity as a political outfit of this country to insult Sanatan Dharma at large?
Nobody has insulted
is the question.
Sanatan.
Is the
We have
question. I want to go
simply-
across to Desh
Okay,
Ratan Nigam
okay.
as well. Mr. Desh Ratan Nigam. He's talking about the definition of Sanatan Dharma for the Sangh Parivar in particular to take on the right wing.
Well, Crispin, it's an irony that the communists have started talking about religion. They have nothing to do with religion. They don't believe in religion and they have no adherence or allegiance to religion. And then Pinarayi Vijayan comes and starts giving lecture about Sanatan Dharma and especially about Hindu beliefs and Sanatan beliefs. They'll never speak about Islam or Christianity. That's one irony that we have noticed always. Now, Sanatan, let us talk about Sree Narayana Guruji. He believed in Advait, which is the philosophy of Sanatan Dharma. He believed in the Krishna, Buddha, Adi Shankaracharya also. And his community prayer, which is an Advait poem, is recited in community prayers in all his followers and wherever the community gatherings take place. He is a great tallest leader of Sanatan Dharma. They don't know what Sanatan Dharma is. It is very inclusive and there are various ways. It talks of one God, Nirankar. That is also a philosophy of Sanatan Dharma. 6 philosophies, 6 school of thoughts. That's also a philosophy of Sanatan Dharma which the Western world has copied. The whole fact remains that when you have nothing to do with religion, you start lecturing about Sanatan Dharma.
No. Buddhism has nothing to do with Sanatan.
That is a problem. Communists
Buddhism
have
has nothing to do with
clearly
Sanatan.
stated in their manifestos and documents they do not adhere to religion. They do not believe in religion. They say religion is an opium of masses. That is, and now they come up and say, no, this is not Sanatan Dharma. This is, don't you see the irony? Trying to get into and insult Sanatan Dharma. Their leaders, with some of the opposition leaders, cahoot with hands in gloves, have always been, insulting Sanatan Dharma. This is another one way of trying to prove that this is not Sanatan Dharma. And difficulty is, Mr. Vijayan has not read what Narayan Guru is. And therefore, if you read this entire philosophy, everything is followed from Sanatan Dharma, which is very diverse. We all know Sanatan Dharma is quite diverse. It has various systems, philosophies, and everybody is free to believe in it.
Therefore, you're saying it's all inclusive. You're directly answering to Vivek Srivastava. But before I go across to Kamru Chaudhary, I also want to understand from you, Desh Ratan Nigam ji, do you think Guru Narayan ji was a proponent of Sanatan Dharma? Because that's where the contention is coming in from the left.
See, he said one caste, one religion.
Yeah.
That is what the Sanatan Dharma is all about.
Sorry, I have objections.
Please don't interfere.
I have strong objections.
Vivek, I'm coming to you. You'll be given time. You'll be given time to interject. Hold on, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
I can quote the Bhagavad Gita verbatim right now.
See, allow me to speak, Mr. Srivastava. I never interfere.
निगम साहब एक बात बताइए, कायस्थ कौन से वर्ड में आते हैं? नहीं निगम साहब, we are both कायस्थ. I want a simple answer from you. 10-second question. To which varnas do kayasthas belong?
We are sitting in a debate.
Vivek, can I please? Vivek, it's a humble request. Vivek, it's a humble request.
To
you will be given your time. You will be given your time. There are other 2 panelists waiting as well. Please hold on. Be a little patient. Extend the same courtesy.
I have a lot of respect for Advocate Nigam. He is politically senior to me. My only 5-second question is, to which varna, sir, do kayasthas belong?
Okay, we've heard you. Let him complete.
Yeah, let him answer. Kayasth kaun se vard mein hai, sir?
Please see, the fact is, in Sanatan Dharma, we have a concept of an Omkar, Nirakar, which is being one God. And all paths lead to that. I don't want to hear a lecture from a communist. Please understand that.
No, sir. आपसे मैंने पूछा कायस्थ कौन से वर्ण में आते हैं? ब्राह्मण, शूद्र, वैश्य या क्षत्रिय?
When somebody talks about Sanatan Dharma, you have to understand its philosophies. Narayan Guruji was talking not of Varna Vyavastha, but Jati Vyavastha, which became an aberration in the Hindu society. He was
Varna Vyavastha is the first step to Jati Vyavastha, sir.
Varna Vyavastha was based on skill.
Intercaste marriages
are wrong. Based on skill, Yogyata,
Bhagavad Gita says intercaste marriages are wrong, and women who cross the line and marry another caste, they impurify the race.
About Sanatan Dharma,
I am not
understand you are absolutely ignorant about Sanatan Dharma, and
Bhagavad Gita says
ignorance is blissful.
what we don't want to do here is
Ignorance
cherry
is bliss
pick.
for
We're
you.
not going to cherry pick as and when it suits you, but I want to go across to others as well. I'll come back to you. Mr.
Okay.
Kamru Chaudhary, how does the Congress view this? We heard Mr. Satheesan say that you're indirectly giving an advantage to the Saffron Party, and Sanatan cannot be equated to the whole of the Sangh Parivar.
Absolutely, Christian, you must understand out here the bipolarity that the left and the BJP wants to bring in Kerala does not suit the ideals of B.R. Ambedkar out here. Even earlier also, I am coming to the Guruji out here, but reformers like Jyotirao Phule or Periyar, they criticize Sanatan Dharma. But this has been miscued by certain elements from the BJP and the right-wing ecosystem in India to be directly opposing or criticizing Sanatan Dharma out here. But why were they criticized? Why the Sanatan Dharma was criticized in the first place? It was for perpetuating caste-based discrimination. They advocated for socio-religious movements that dismantled these structures, and that echoes in Vijayan's interpretation of the Sree Narayana Guru's work. Now, when Guruji says one caste, one religion, one God for mankind, it directly opposes the exclusivity inherent in the traditional Sanatana Dharma practices that we know as on date. Because Sanatan is too very old for any of us sitting in this panel to even analyze
But
and
that's
debate
what I'm
on
saying,
this.
Kamru Chaudhary, that's what I'm saying. It seems
That
as
is-
though each
yeah.
speaker here wants to tweak it as per what suits their political narrative. Because
I'll
if
take
we
an
just go
very-
by the broader definition of Sanatan, it's a way of living where how does caste come into the picture? How do
Obviously,
different
caste-
religions
caste
come into
is
the
also
picture?
a way of living.
It is what you want to see it to be, Kamru Chaudhary.
no,
But
yeah,
how?
that's
But
what-
everybody is choosing their own political narrative here,
No,
which
it's
is the
not
narrative
about
of
that.
convenience
It-
very
it-
clearly.
the
Are you
narrative is
trying to
one.
say that
Narrative
casteism was
is
not a
one.
problem of
So-
India? If
let
somebody,
me finish.
can anybody on the
Vivek
panel
sir,
say that
Vivek sir,
casteism is not a
let me-
problem? And Dalits have been exploited for centuries. And
Nobody
that is why we
saying
give
that.
reservation to
Vivek,
SCs and STs.
One second. Again, Vivek, I think you're
Christian,
digressing.
let me better explain to you
Yeah,
in the
please,
context of
please.
the political atmosphere out here in India or in the ancient ages. What happened because of the caste-based discrimination that was prevalent in the Indian society? You see, people from lower caste, they accepted Islam, they accepted Buddhism.
Yes.
That is there. We all know that. Now, in the political sphere also, you will see that when people are given an alternative to, let's say, a BJP or a Congress, they can choose an Aam Aadmi Party or a Trinamool Congress. That's what happened in the society right now. Now, being assertive as a society, the Sangh Parivar now wants to assert themselves. They think that we are the thikadars of the Sanatan Dharma or Hindu Dharma, and whatever the definition of Hinduism or Sanatan is Hindutva according to Savarkar's definition. But that's wrong. We all believe Sanatan Dharma.
But again, my
brings
problem
in a
is,
way
does
of
that
living.
give you the entitlement to abuse Sanatan? Because there are
No,
a million
that's
Sanatan
what you
followers
call-
in the
No, it
country.
is about
You're insulting their
that's what
faith,
you
you're
call
hurting their
interpretation,
faith.
Christian.
And the question that is being asked today, Kamru Chaudhary, is that why is this not being done to other religions?
No, of course it is there. You see, in India, if there is a Sharia law, the criminalization of all the Sharia law has been abolished in India, except for the social Sharia laws is there. Reforms are happening in the society, irrespective of any religion. Unlike the Sangh Parivar that wants us to believe that anybody wants to criticize Sanatan Dharma for political gains. But no, I am not a fan of Mr. Vijayan out here. But what Mr. Vijayan suggested out here was absolutely not what BJP has interpreted out here. It's absolutely different. My point of view as a congressman is that we have got no right to abuse or criticize Sanatan Dharma or Islam, because that is too big for any of the panelists in here to discuss and debate
But
on
why
such topics.
was there absolute tolerism for what Udayanidhi Stalin had said against Sanatan, called it a disease, equated it to what not? But there was absolute silence on part of the Congress party, right?
When you define the Sanatan Dharma in context of Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, they get the answer. Because what Sanatan propagates right now is the definition of the society on the basis of caste hierarchy, which is absolutely wrong. Under Ambedkar's
Okay, can I just
Indian
cite what the Madras
civilization,
High Court
we
said
have to
with regards to
annihilation
what
of the
Udayanidhi
caste out
Stalin
there.
said, and then I need to go across to Anil Antony as well. He's been very patient on the broadcast. The Madras High Court actually wanted to know the literature based on which Udayanidhi Stalin, in fact, understood that Sanatan Dharma was the one that promotes caste system. It was the Madras High Court that opined this. But Anil Antony, what do you make of this? Because your party is being accused of misusing the likes of Guru Narayan and their legacy for political gains only.
Jaspreet, thank you for having me in the show. From the last 2-3 years, it is becoming very, very clear that there is a very clear pattern that all the India alliance partners, starting from the Congress party, where in the recent times, this year itself, Rahul Gandhi once made a statement that the Congress is fighting the concept of Shakti. Then last year there was a statement by Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin. Now there is a statement by Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan. And all of them seems to have a common pattern, and that is that they are trying to attack some of, it is not just Sanatan Dharma, but they are having a common pattern of attacking India's civilizational values itself. And this is because of the unifying factors, it is because of the unifying principle of the civilizational values. Last year there was this G20 summit, and what was the theme of the G20 summit? It was Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Where does this come from? This also comes from some of our civilizational values. Mahatma Gandhi coined Sarva Dharma Sambhavana. And again, this also was deeply inspired by some of our civilizational values, including the teachings of Sree Narayana Guru. Sree Narayana Guru, his most famous teaching was one caste, one religion, one God for all humanity. This was also deeply inspired by our civilizational values. Sree Narayana Guru himself is a person who had consecrated 44 temples. And he was a Hindu monk, he was a Hindu saint. Yet, right now what is happening is people like Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, they are trying to cut Narayana Guru's association with Hinduism by saying that he is not a Hindu monk. And he is trying to create a new definition of certain of our civilization values because they are afraid of the unification values of our civilizational values. In the last 10 years, 11 years, this time for the third straight time the NDA came back to power. And that is because the people of India trust our Prime Minister's vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. So now our Prime Minister is unifying 140 crore Indians together. And we are moving forward our vision of Vikasit Bharat. And during these times, the opposition do not have an answer. And now the opposition, what they are trying to do, they are trying to divide our society based on Hindus and Muslims, based on minority and majority. And once again, they are trying to divide the Hindu society, the majority society based on various castes. And this, our civilizational values, including Sanatan, is an impediment for that. So there is constant attack. That is what is happening. Mr. Vijayan also yesterday tried the same thing, where his actual statement was, he was making a remark on Sree Narayana Guru, where he was saying that he was not a Hindu monk, he was something beyond that. But this beyond that is the civilizational values that our Sanatan has been teaching forever.
This
and
beyond that
right
also
now that is an impediment for the
it also
opposition to
entails
divide
the fact
society.
that after Sree Narayana Guru entered the scene, the conversion of Ezavas to Christianity almost stopped. So, Vivek Srivastava, what does that make Mr. Guru Narayan? What does it make Guru Narayan ji?
I'll tell you. Guru Narayan ji talked of one caste. He said one nation and one caste. We are also saying the same thing. That is what the left is saying. We are against the Brahminical supremacy. Kayastas, for example. I mean,
but why are you equating that to Sanatan Dharma, Vivek Srivastava? I just quoted what the Madras High Court said in as many words.
No, it's not about High Court.
From which book, from which literature are you gaining these facts?
Now I will quote the book. I will quote the Bhagavad Gita, which has got two chapters which very clearly state. Number 1 states the justification of the Varna Vyavastha according to Bhagavad Gita. It is written, it is justified. Now my friends like Mr. Nigam will say they are talking of Varna Vyavastha, not of caste system. Another chapter, they are saying that a woman cannot have intercaste marriages because it will lead to the impurification of the races. Now,
we can keep going on about this, Vivek. The facts are also in that 23%.
That
23% voter in Kerala, isn't it? The Ezavas, the SNDP, essentially comprising of the Ezavas, constitute 23% of the population in Kerala. Traditionally, Vivek, hear me out. Traditionally, they used to vote for the ruling regime in Kerala. That shift to the BJP is something that is now seemingly irking the left parties in Kerala.
I'm not talking of BJP. Pinarayi Vijayan is saying, my comrade is saying that casteism is bad and Brahminical supremacy in the Hindu society has to stop. And why do we want the Brahmins to be sitting on the head? Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was a Kayastha, he was a Srivastava, he could have been the Shankaracharya, because of his caste he could not become. I mean, after giving so much of contribution, the caste community has not been given space in the 4 Varnas. Brahman, Shudra, Vaishya and Kshatriyas, they don't have given space.
It's not just about appeasement, Deshratan Nigam ji. It comes down to ideology and ideological opposition to the BJP.
The Brahmins had to go down and say, "आप तो कायस्थ हैं, आप पूरी काया से उत्पन्न हुए." What nonsense!
I'm not going to allow too much digression in the debate, Vivek.
not
But
digression, it
you
is an
made limited
example of
points.
Dalit empowerment.
You made limited
This is
points that need a
self-digression.
rebuttal.
I
So
am
let
talking about
Dalit
Brahmins.
Ratan Nigam ji
You
respond.
cannot stop me like this. दलितों को दबाएंगे
What
जिसको
was the
मानिए आप।
question? Because
यहाँ पे
it's
हम
getting
नहीं कह सकते कि दलित
cross-talking is disturbing.
Vivek, let him respond. Vivek, your
Yeah.
question to
Yeah.
Desh Ratan Nigam ji, he'll respond.
Yeah, sure.
What was his question? Because there was a lot of cross-talking. I couldn't hear properly.
The question was, sir, कायस्थों को, आप भी कायस्थ, मैं भी कायस्थ, हमारे को 4 वर्णों में से क्यों नहीं डाला गया? किस वर्ण में हम आते हैं? और क्यों हम ब्रह्मा के मुंह से नहीं, हम ब्राह्मण नहीं है, हम शूद्र नहीं है, हम वैश्य नहीं है, हम क्षत्रिय नहीं है? क्यों? क्योंकि हमारे साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हुआ।
Okay,
I think
heard you.
आप
Vivek,
इसको मानेंगे या नहीं मानेंगे,
This
sir?
is not a shouting match. Calm down. Everybody is here to have a civil
Yeah,
debate
let him
and
answer.
discussion. Please let him respond.
Let him answer.
See,
Let him answer.
please understand that when one's
Yes.
talk about Varna Vyavastha and Jati Vyavastha, these are two different things. Please understand that. It's nowhere Jati has been
Very
mentioned.
diplomatic answer.
Anywhere in any of the scriptures. Jati was a later day development brought in by the Britishers, Portuguese in this country, where they started using caste census sometime in the 19th century. From there, these problems arose.
No.
There is a
No,
Varna
sorry,
Vyavastha
sir.
which is
I
based
have
on
objections.
Please. There is a Varna Vyavastha which is based on skills.
To which
Where
Varna
there
do
was
you
a
belong, sir?
movement. The horizontal
कौन से
movement
वर्ण से
used
है,
to
sir?
take place and the vertical
Sir, you talk
movement.
about your
If somebody
Varna,
was
tell me to which Varna you
intelligent,
belong.
somebody he would become a Brahman. Brahman means somebody who can acquire knowledge,
No.
not by birth. So therefore, these are the systems which actually they were aberrations in our
never
society. They were
Anil,
aberrations in our society.
do you think this goes beyond, an ideological fight, and it actually is about vote bank politics? The fight for the Ezawas, the fight to get the BJDS vote, because the BJDS is the SDNP's political wing, right? And they are BJP loyalists. Do you think that is what's not going down well with the left in Kerala? What do you think it is?
See, this is completely about politics. Right now, like I already mentioned before, our Prime Minister is working with the vision of uniting everybody and moving forward to a developed country. And the people of India are showing full trust in that vision also, which is why we have come back for the third time, and there are 20 plus double engine governments across India. Last year there was a statement by Mr. Kamal Hassan in Tamil Nadu where he was trying to tell that Shaivites are not Hindus. Now in Kerala also Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan is now trying to say that Sree Narayana Guruji, he was not a Hindu monk. That is what he was trying to suggest with his statements yesterday. And all of this is again trying to divide the Hindus based on different caste lines. So our communist colleague who is also a panelist here and many others keep on saying that they do not believe in caste and they want to unite, but at the same time all the actions, it is absolutely divisive, where they are absolutely trying to divide the society based on Muslims and Hindus. They are trying to divide the Hindu society based on different caste, and they are creating different narrations to justify that. So this is politics. This is completely against about politics.
Vivek, I want Prabhu Chaudhary to come in as well, but it's a very important point that you've highlighted, and I have a follow-up question, Vivek. One second, I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
Why is it that the CPM, why is it that the left also started including Guru Narayan ji in its campaign only after the BJP started doing so? You're accusing them of misusing his legacy.
No, sorry. Anybody, any citizen, any saint, any political party, any entity, any professor, doctor, engineer, lawyer, anchor, anyone who stands for the secular ethos and is against casteism is not a casteist and says let us all abolish the caste system and have one caste.
My question was something else. My question was something else.
We stand with them.
Since why is it that the left in Kerala only got reminded of Guru Narayan ji and his work and his contributions to the society, of how he was the one to ensure social reform in the state of Kerala and beyond, only after the BJP started talking about him, started
not at all.
a part of their campaigns?
No, absolutely. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. There were many things in Periyar Ramaswamy also that we did not agree with. However, when he stood for the caste struggle, the left supported that particular movement. There should be no casteism. There should be no exploitation of the list.
Okay.
If the saint says that there should be no caste system, only one caste, and everybody should belong to it, it's a very good concept, and it should be endorsed. And that is what the Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala has done.
Okay, I got my answer. He says no.
Yeah, thank
Kamruji, do you agree? Do you agree to what Vivek is saying?
Partly I agree to what Vivek ji, because that's the language, that's the voice of entire India right now. We need an affirmative action for annihilation of the caste system in India. But BJP will always want to
No,
keep
my
the
question is
pot
different
boiling.
again. Kamruji, we've spoken about
Yeah.
that at length and clearly nobody is agreeing to the other side. My question is, don't you think that the CPM started making Guru Narayana part of its campaign after the BJP started doing so?
That the left can answer the best because I told you Congress party in Kerala stands for unity of all castes of religion. We are for development of the state.
India
we are for
Alliance
the
stands
development of the
together.
country out here. But I cannot comment because you see earlier also there were Bhakti saints like Kabir or Sant Ravidas also who brought out the same line that Guru Narayan Swami has spoken about.
No, the other
And today
allegation
Vijay-
against the left is that they're also losing out on their vote bank to the Congress party. Hence, you know, the manner in which these reactions are coming and the opposition to Sanatan Dharma
Congress
through
party-
Guru Narayan ji's name.
Congress party will stand for an affirmative action, show that the caste system in India is completely abolished, and each and every person who has been somehow or the other not met with justice and equality in history will receive equal treatment in the eyes of the law. 90% of those officers who are appointed in the secretary level at the central government are from the upper caste. Why? Why are you not holding the caste census in India to find out the condition of the caste in India? If you want to unite all the caste, you bring them at par with all the caste and then you unite them and
I
say,
request you begin with that humble appeal, at least in the state of Karnataka, which is ruled by the Congress party, and then perhaps we can talk
Can
about
I come in?
replicating it.
what?
Deshratan Nigam ji, afraid I'm running out of time. That's all the time we have. Thank you, gentlemen, for holding that discussion this evening. But since so much of the discussion around how Sanatan Dharma has been once again insulted is about the meaning of Sanatan Dharma, let's talk about it in detail. It's a Sanskrit term that can be translated as eternal religion or eternal law, unshakable, venerable order, or ancient and continuing guidelines. Different texts, in fact, viewers give different lists of duties, but in general, Sanatan Dharma consists of virtues such as honesty, refraining from injuring living beings, purity, goodwill, mercy, patience, forbearance, self-restraint, generosity, and asceticism. Although this term is mostly commonly associated with Hinduism, it's also used by Jains, Buddhists, so God goes much beyond Hinduism in its traditional understanding, because these religions also believe in rebirth. It's a way of life based on Vedas written by the great rishis. With that, it's time for us to head into a very short break. We will get you details on the other side of the drama that is unfolding ahead of the fifth and the final test in Sydney. Rohit Sharma, we're learning, is likely to take rest, with Bumrah in all likelihood set to replace him as the captain. We'll be right back. Keep watching.
All right, moving on to more news from United States. 15 people were killed and at least 35 injured after a man drove into large crowd in New Orleans, Louisiana in the early hours of New Year's Day. At about 3:15 local time on New Year's Day, a Ford pickup truck rammed into crowd gathered on Bourbon Street in the heart of New Orleans, and French Quarters is where the incident has happened. And the CCTV footage shows a white Ford F-150 lightning vehicle driving onto the pavement to get around a police car before hitting the pedestrians. Now, police described the act as very intentional, adding that the attacker, identified as Samshuddin Jabbar, was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. I'm now joined by my colleague Akansha Swaroop on this broadcast. Akansha, give us more detail about this accused. What was his plan really when he rammed into this particular area?
A very good morning, Sharon. It's deeply tragic that the new year for Americans has begun on such a tragic, horrifying note. This entire incident is being treated as a terrorist act. Also, not to forget the fact that we're looking at this entire incident where 15 people have been declared dead. Now, the FBI, which is also going to be, is already investigating this entire matter, will be able to establish the motive better. But it's important to highlight that this person entered the U.S. border just 2 days ago, and which is why the U.S. President-elect has also, in fact, denounced this entire incident as an act of terrorism. He's also gone on to condemn and blame it on illegal immigration, remember, which was a very crucial issue during his own election campaigning. And he's gone on to react by saying that when I say that criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a record level, but nobody has ever seen. Our hearts with all the innocent victims. And that's what he's now questioning, that how is such illegal immigration taking place, because this man entered the US border 2 days prior to the attack through Texas. At the same time, the outgoing president, Joe Biden, has been also blasted for his tone-deaf reaction because soon after the terror incident, the first tweet coming in from the US president was Happy New Year, folks. And soon after he was trolled, which is when he started reacting to the incident, and he's also gone on to talk about how he's already been briefed regarding the horrific incident that occurred in New Orleans. The FBI is taking the lead in the investigation and is investigating this entire act of terrorism. So, as far as these are the reactions, but the fact of the matter remains, Sharon, we've seen a similar incident happen where again it was an immigrant who had done it from Saudi Arabia in that Christmas market in Germany. So yes, we'll have to see how Donald Trump now, the incoming new administration in the White House, responds to immigration. They're certainly going to be cracking the whip as far as illegal immigrants are concerned.
Akansha, I request you to please stay with us as we are getting a reaction from US President Joe Biden on this incident.
To all the families of those who are killed, to all those who are injured, to all the people of New Orleans who are grieving today, I want you to know, I grieve with you. Our nation grieves with you. We're going to stand with you as you mourn and as you heal in the weeks to come.
Akansha, like you also mentioned earlier, that how the accused had just entered US through Texas just 2 days back, and like you also mentioned that similar incident happened in Germany as well. At that point of time also we discussed how the refugees restrictions are going to of course increase. There's of course going to be a debate about how the refugees or the outsider enter the country. This is further going to of course escalate the entire debate over the issue.
Oh, absolutely it is, because Sharon, let's apart from Germany, if you focus on what's been happening in the United States, just days ago a lady was in fact burnt alive in the subway trains in New York City, and that was also done by an immigrant from Guatemala. He's in fact the identity of that person is he's a Guatemalan, and that again has given more ammunition to Donald Trump, the US President-elect, to talk about it, and we'll have to in fact see what exactly was the motive of this terrorist who's involved in the New Orleans incident. As I have been mentioning, he crossed the border in his truck through Eagle Pass in Texas just 2 days ago. So it clearly seems that he wanted to disrupt these activities, because Bourbon Street, which is where this entire incident happened, is known to be a tourist hotspot. It's known for its nightlife. So you only had these innocent New Year revelers.
Welcome back. You're watching The Right Stand. Viewers, the hopes of 1 billion Indians are pinned on the Sunday test against Australia, as it will be a make or break for the Indian side. It is this game that decides whether India is still in the running for the final spot in the World Test Championship. And while the playing 11 will be seen in the final moments of the game once it commences tomorrow, rumour mills are abuzz ever since head coach Gautam Gambhir did a pre-match press conference in the absence of Rohit Sharma. Ever since, there's been unending speculation, and several reports state that Rohit Sharma has opted out of the 5th test. In his absence, ace pacer Jasprit Bumrah will lead the side to retain the Border Gavaskar trophy. This has triggered a wave of possibilities which may now kick in. Will it be Shubman Gill in front instead of Rohit Sharma? That's the first big possibility we're looking at. Jasprit Bumrah perhaps will now take over as the captain instead of Rohit Sharma if he's going to be rested. Furthermore, remember Akash Deep is injured, so he's also not a part of the playing 11. Will it then be Harshit Rana or Prasidh Krishna? That's the two big possibilities that are staring at us. There's also Dhruv Jurel. Will he replace Rishabh Pant? That's the next big possibility. And if any of this were to be believed, what does this mean for the Indian side in the fifth and the final test match at Sydney? We decode that with our experts in just a bit for the next few minutes. But there's also much talk about a dressing room conversation that seemed to have leaked and is being talked about not just on social media, but when confronted, Coach Gambhir briefly remarked on it. Here's what he said. He said, and I quote, every individual knows in which area they need to work. When you play for your country, you want to give your best. He further said debates between a player and a coach should remain between them. Furthermore, said conversations should be restricted to the dressing room. Everything is fine with Rohit. When he was questioned about whether or not Rohit will make it to the playing 11, why so low-key in Sydney, that's what he said. He also said we will announce the playing 11 after seeing the pitch and said we had just one conversation in our dressing room. How we will win the next test, he says, it is important for us, so that's what's being deliberated upon. Those were the words of head coach Gautam Gambhir in the pre-match press conference. Let's quickly open this up with our guests joining us this evening. We have Vimal Kumar, sports journalist with us, along with Atul Vasan, former Indian cricketer. A very good evening to both of you, gentlemen. Atul, what do you make of the ongoing drama, if I may say, because I said very recently, I don't remember the last time when a test match was spoken of so much outside of the cricket domain. But, with possibility of Rohit Sharma being rested, Jasprit Bumrah taking over as the captain, all of those possibilities being spoken of in these reports. How is it sinking?
Well, you know what, you people have been talking about it and, you've hyped it up so much because, I can't understand because whatever, as Gautam Gambhir said, it is just so obvious, what has he said so out of the ordinary that everybody should know and whatever, and if he's
But don't you think, Atul,
so
Rohit Sharma has been very low-key at SCG and that's bound to trigger speculations given he's led the team all this while?
He's not been low-key in SCG. He's just been low-key this tour ever since his comeback. And, the minute he landed, he should have actually been blunt. He should have been like baseball. He should have just opened the batting just because, you come back to your place. You can't just let, and then that was a signal that went to Australia that you batted lower down and you allowed KL out because he batted well in the first match. So that sent the signal that you were not confident, and look at what happened because he's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And now I was the first one to say that, it's happened before in cricket. If you see 180 years of test cricket history, captains have rested themselves. It is and I would respect him. He'll be a bigger man because you can see that he's not in the right frame of mind. And just to put this guy under pressure because he's gone number 3 opening it, and and he's not rested. He cannot be rested. Either he's dropped or he drops himself, and he still remains the captain because the time of non-playing captain has arrived in cricket also, like in tennis.
Oh, so are you saying that's a possibility? He could be, still the captain, not feature in the playing 11. Is that a possibility?
So then what is this lip service Gautam Gambhir has been doing for 2-3 days? This will happen, this will happen. Walk the talk. Drop Rishabh Pant. Drop Rohit Sharma. Say you're sitting out. Play Jurel. Play Sarfraz Khan, because these are the guys you prepared for test cricket. So you are just going for the low-hanging fruit, talking about it, not doing anything, and the juggernaut moves on. Okay. And then this series gets over, we lose, and what happens? We'll forget about it because somebody will score runs in T20, that drama of cricket, and then everything's okay. Then we'll play bilateral series, we'll beat them, and then we'll be number 1 in the world, and then everybody's happy. What's going on?
Okay, we have Ayaz Memon, senior sports journalist with us as well. Very good evening to you, sir. But before that, Vimal, you've been in the thick of things. How do you see this? Atul spoke of a very interesting fact on why, so much hush-hush around what changes are to come in, etc. Tomorrow is going to be the D-Day when we finally see the playing 11 once the game commences. But that big message or the signal that came in from Gautam Gambhir when he was asked by, one of the reporters present there, why is Rohit Sharma not here? He said, isn't the head coach enough? So that's one of the reasons why, rumors are abuzz. Tell us what you made of the pre-match press conference.
Yeah, actually, there was a bit of drama when Gautam Gambhir came because it was an Australian journalist who asked, because traditionally in Australia, every pre-match press conference is being attended by both captains, which has happened in all the matches. First match it was Bumrah, and then the next 3 matches Rohit Sharma. But today it was expected, because by yesterday itself it was clear that Rohit Sharma will be resting himself. See, and this was apparent after India lost the MCG test match. This was quite clear. If anyone who watched the Rohit Sharma's press conference after the MCG defeat, I have never seen, I have been touring with this Indian team ever since Rohit Sharma has taken over. On all the tours, I have never seen Rohit Sharma so down, and it didn't come as a surprise. And in the morning, if you look at in the very morning, 2 visuals which were very clear when Jasprit Bumrah had a long chat with Gautam Gambhir in the dressing room. The entire team was in the main field, and then Jasprit Bumrah walks in, and then he just pats on the back of Shubman Gill, who was dropped for the last test match, clearly saying that he will play. And then Gautam Gambhir comes, he also pats in the similar fashion to Shubman Gill, and it was clear, if Shubman Gill comes, who would come in whose place? It was Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma was nowhere. There were, the football game was going on, the warm-up game, and you could see that the entire team. I have covered all these warm-up games from the Perth, Adelaide, all the test match. There was a different kind of energy in all whether it was Captain Jasprit Bumrah or it was Rohit Sharma. There was not much change. The Indian team always looked in great spirit, but today it looked different. It looked, I would not say, people have been saying from outside, fracture, this, that, on the other, and I don't buy that, because I have been with this Indian team. Yes, in any team, in any organization, there will be difference of opinions, but to say that this dressing room is fractured, coach versus captain, yes, it does look, if you look at the decisions, what the team managements are taken, it is quite clear. The chief selector, the head coach, the captain, they all are not on the same pages, because, and you see the way playing 11 has been changed. But overall, if you feel sad for someone like Rohit Sharma, just 6 months back, he had an outstanding World Cup. Previously, he led India to the ODI World Cup final, 10 straight matches. So everything was going great for him. And suddenly you see the fortune changing in such a way. Not only Rohit Sharma, all these. If you look at the India batting lineup, besides Yashasvi Jaiswal and Nitish Reddy, everyone has underperformed. Whether it was the last 2 tours, Hero Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, you name it, everyone. So I think the build-up to this Sydney test, which is very important for India to win, just to square the series, because on the last 2 tours, India have won the series. This time they could at least draw the series and deny Australia still the BGT trophy. Remember, if India wins the Sydney test, Australia still will not retain the border Gavaskar, which India will retain that.
Oh yes, absolutely. More than border Gavaskar trophy, I think there's much more at stake for India, which is the final spot in the World Test Championship, and that's what perhaps India is looking at. I want to go across to Atul because I see him nodding. But before that, Mr. Memon, how do you look at this? Jasprit Bumrah, he led the team in Perth. It was a 295-run triumph for the Indian team. Do you think, that makes Jasprit Bumrah a good fit as the captain? The last crucial test match against Australia, and very, very important at that for the Indian side.
Well, who else do you go to? I mean, if Rohit Sharma is not going to take the field, as seems now almost inevitable, then who else do you go to? Virat Kohli is an ex-captain. Rishabh Pant is probably fighting for his place in the team. Shubman Gill is just about to come back, and just leave Jasprit Bumrah, who has captained earlier twice. One match he lost, one match he's won, which is on this tour, and he's been the outstanding player for India. So, in a sense, he inspired that win at Perth, and he's been actually, without Jasprit Bumrah, the scoreline would have been 4-0 by now.
He's a pacer, and he's one of those dependents who are irreplaceable in the Indian team. With Mohammad Shami not being there, with Akash Dab, absolutely. Do you think concentrating all his energies not just on his bowling attack now, but also on his captaincy is going to be a fair deal, given the criticality of this game? Mr. Beman?
Well, yeah, but look at it from the other point of view. I mean, look at who's captaining Australia. It's Pat Cummins, who's arguably the second best bowler in the contest so far. India versus Australia in the 4 Test matches. He's got an outstanding record as a captain, though he's been the premier fast bowler for his team. So, this whole thing about workload and whether it will affect a fast bowler, should fast bowlers be made captains, why not only look at spinners? I think it's all hogwash, it's all old theory. I mean, in the past we've had Bob Willis, who's been a captain of India, of England for many years. Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus. There have been many captains. As Atul will tell you, when he used to play first class cricket, he didn't say that I can't captain because I'm a fast bowler. That's never the issue.
I was a captain. Yeah.
I would gladly accept that. I mean, given that we're really not left with a choice. Yes.
When I was in my time, I asked, the narrative was that the fast bowlers don't have any brains. And I was the captain of Delhi, and I forgot. Yeah, but imagine. So let me tell you about captaincy. I think it's overrated. Jasprit Bumrah is a genius. He didn't win it the Perth Test match with his captaincy. Just the bowling. If you would have made me the captain of West Indies team in 1980s, I would have been the best captain ever. This is the point. So I think
but that also means him captaining in World Test Championship, England as well.
What is the WTC? Nobody cares about it. This product has got no traction. We lose this one, we'll go on Sri Lanka or Zimbabwe and we'll thrash them and we'll be number one. Everybody will be happy. So just don't go on. Just think about. And Vimal is my old friend, and I'm really in awe of him that he watches all the warm-up games also. So hats off to you. But I think whatever he said in his long thing, he told us history. Eventually I got that operation was successful, but the patient died.
Okay, Vimal, to you, the last word. Since, like I said, you're in the thick of things, I want to understand what your best bet is on who's going to make it to the playing 11. And what about the bowlers? What's the bowling attack going to shape up like?
What I saw from this practice match today, it's quite clear Rohit Sharma is resting himself. So KL Rahul goes at the top of the order.
You should say that I've dropped myself.
No, Jasprit Jaiswal there.
I think Vimal is allowed to be humble about it. Yes,
this is what we are Indians. We always say rest because it's older player, big player, should not mind it. Just say we are dropping you because you're not doing well.
Okay, Vimal.
No, but I would like to ask both senior guys, Ayaz Menon and Atul Vasan, when was the last time an Indian captain has dropped himself saying that I'm not good enough? When was the last time an Indian captain came, he was struggling in the press conference, not once, twice said that yes, I'm struggling, I'm trying my hardest. I have seen all these captains like Saurav Ganguly, Rahul Dravid and all these players, Sachin Tendulkar, and never seen that someone coming
and to be
publicly
fair,
and saying that.
I'll tell you why.
Can his test record be held against him vis-a-vis ODI record?
I'll tell you. Why he's asking why he should not be doing this?
I'll tell you. So,
let me
without taking away anything from
30 seconds to Atul and then I'm coming to
Okay. I'll tell you. This is the sadistic nature of Indians. We love to enjoy the misery of people who have been on a high horse. And that's what we want him to say, that I'm struggling. You just see how happy we are when rich people go to jail. This is the same thing. Why should we apologize?
Okay, not a very clear.
Why should he say all these things? Why do you nice?
Okay. Ayaz ji.
Yeah, so look, it's not the first time, as I mentioned, that a captain has dropped himself. It happened in Australia in 1974-75 when Mike India.
I'm talking about India.
I understand.
I'll tell you.
No.
India. Give me an Indian example.
Okay, I'll
no Indian captain. No Indian captain has done that.
You should know.
I'm saying the issue is about the word rested.
Maharaja.
He has. I think it's good if
Maharaja.
The decision. If Rohit has taken the decision about himself, it is credit worthy for him that he has taken the decision.
Okay, clearly we're all very, very ambitious about
that is what I am saying. That is what I am saying. It is for the first time in Indian cricket that a captain has says that yes, I am struggling and in the interest of the team, I don't deserve a place in the team, and he should be glad for that.
Okay, I think we all agree that we'll have to give that to Rohit Sharma. But let's see what makes the cut really and what works for the Indian side going into Sydney tomorrow. We're still watching out for those first visuals of the playing 11 on the field. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. We head into a very short break with that. On the other side, 3 deadly attacks in the United States within hours. How the terror group ISIS is spreading its footprints. We talk about that and get you a big exclusive news break. We'll be right back.
Co-powered by M.
All right, moving on to more news from United States. 15 people were killed and at least 35 injured after a man drove into large crowd in New Orleans, Louisiana in the early hours of New Year's Day. At about 3:15 local time on New Year's Day, a Ford pickup truck rammed into crowd gathered on Bourbon Street in the heart of New Orleans, and French Quarters is where the incident has happened. And the CCTV footage shows a white Ford F-150 lightning vehicle driving onto the pavement to get around a police car before hitting the pedestrians. Now, police described the act as very intentional, adding that the attacker, identified as Samshuddin Jabbar, was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. I'm now joined by my colleague Akansha Swaroop on this broadcast. Akansha, give us more detail about this accused. What was his plan really when he rammed into this particular area?
A very good morning, Sharon. It's deeply tragic that the new year for Americans has begun on such a tragic, horrifying note. This entire incident is being treated as a terrorist act. Also, not to forget the fact that we're looking at this entire incident where 15 people have been declared dead. Now, the FBI, which is also going to be, is already investigating this entire matter, will be able to establish the motive better. But it's important to highlight that this person entered the U.S. border just 2 days ago, and which is why the U.S. President-elect has also, in fact, denounced this entire incident as an act of terrorism. He's also gone on to condemn and blame it on illegal immigration, remember, which was a very crucial issue during his own election campaigning. And he's gone on to react by saying that when I say that criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a record level, but nobody has ever seen. Our hearts with all the innocent victims. And that's what he's now questioning, that how is such illegal immigration taking place, because this man entered the U.S. border 2 days prior to the attack through Texas. At the same time, the outgoing President, Joe Biden, has been also blasted for his tone-deaf reaction because soon after the terror incident, the first tweet coming in from the U.S. President was Happy New Year, folks. And soon after, he was trolled, which is when he started reacting to the incident, and he's also gone on to talk about how he's already been briefed regarding the horrific incident that occurred in New Orleans. The FBI is taking the lead in the investigation and is investigating this entire act of terrorism. So, as far as these are the reactions, but the fact of the matter remains, Sharon, we've seen a similar incident happen where again it was an immigrant who had done it from Saudi Arabia in that Christmas market in Germany. So, yes, we'll have to see how Donald Trump now, the incoming new administration in the White House, responds to immigration. They're certainly going to be cracking the whip as far as illegal immigrants are concerned.
Akansha, I request you to please stay with us as we are getting a reaction from US President Joe Biden on this incident.
To all the families of those who were killed, to all those who are injured, to all the people of New Orleans who are grieving today, I want you to know, I grieve with you. Our nation grieves with you. We're going to stand with you as you mourn and as you heal in the weeks to come.
Akansha, like you also mentioned earlier, that how the accused had just entered US through Texas just 2 days back, and like you also mentioned that similar incident happened in Germany as well. At that point of time also, we discussed how the, refugees restrictions are going to, of course, increase. There's, of course, going to a debate about how the refugees or the outsider enter the country. This is further going to, of course, escalate the entire debate over the issue.
Oh, absolutely it is. Because Sharon, let's, apart from Germany, if you focus on what's been happening in the United States, just days ago, a lady was in fact burnt alive in the subway trains in New York City, and that was
Welcome back, viewers. It was a violent start to the New Year's for the United States. Multiple instances were reported on the 1st of January, killing at least 16 people, injuring several others. An attack by a US Army veteran in New Orleans, a public shooting in New York, and a Tesla Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas has shocked America. Authorities are investigating the incidents, and it is yet to be known whether the three are interconnected or directly linked. To get you details, in the first incident, a 42-year-old US Army veteran identified as Samsuddin Jabbar drove a pickup truck into a crowd early on New Year's Day, killing at least 15 people. The attacker drove around police barricades and plowed into New Year revelers on Bourbon Street in New Orleans French Quarters. Jabbar was shot dead by police after he came out of the truck and opened fire on some responding officers. New Orleans Police Superintendent, in fact, has said that over 30 people were injured in the attack, including 2 police officers who were hit by gunfire but were in stable condition. A black flag of Islamic State group was also found on the truck's rear bumper. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, in fact, says it is investigating the incident as an act of terrorism. And US President Joe Biden also, in fact, responded by saying the FBI discovered just hours before the attack. Jabbar posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. In fact, New Orleans Police Superintendent also said he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. FBI also, in fact, suspects Jabbar was not a lone wolf and had helped to carry out the attack. Taking note of all of this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi condemned the attack. He took to social media platform X. He said, and I quote, "We strongly condemn the cowardly terrorist attack in New Orleans. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families. May they find strength and solace as they heal from this tragedy," unquote. And now moving on to a CNN News 18 mega exclusive. This is on attacks that have been carried out in America on New Year's Day. This is exclusive intel assessment note that's been shared with us by CNN News 18 security affairs expert Manoj Gupta. And this shows the New Orleans attack was an ISIS-inspired attack. This, in fact, has also been spoken of by several world leaders. Syrian President Assad's removal by small jihadi groups was also a major motivating factor to trigger this attack, with a message to the world that even a superpower like the US can be threatened. In fact, ISIS ideology gained more strength and inspiration recently after Assad's removal by a group linked to ISIS that believes in jihad and supported by Iran and Hezbollah. Attacks using cars is also an old modus of ISIS terrorists, and all of that is being taken note of by the investigators as well. High impact attacks via car rammings is old style of ISIS, and ISIS footprints are visible and are similar, and that this incident is very, very similar to the one in Germany, the lone wolf attack, where the approach was pretty much the same. US attack, in fact, is nothing but an attack similar to Sri Lanka, where ISIS core group was not even aware of the attack. Furthermore, intel sources taking note of how ISIS ideology has become very strong after the regime change in Syria. In more news, ISIS attacks in US are also part of a broader global jihadist campaign, and ISIS views that US as a leading symbol of Western power and culture. ISIS also sees it as a counter to their extremist interpretation of Islam and seeks revenge for US-led coalition airstrikes and military interventions in Iraq, Syria, and other Muslim majority countries. So there's a larger pattern that is now clearly emerging, all of it being taken note of. ISIS also uses attacks in US to recruit new members. demonstrates its capabilities and spread fear and propaganda to show the cadre that superpowers can also be challenged. ISIS also, furthermore, is examining to exploit existing social and political tensions in US, such as anti-Muslim sentiment, racial divisions, and gun control debates. Furthermore, ISIS-inspired attackers in US may draw inspiration from previous attacks such as 9/11 and seek to replicate or surpass them. ISIS furthermore uses social media and online platforms to disseminate its ideology, recruit new members, and provide instructions for carrying out some of these attacks. That's all we could pack for you in this edition of The Right Stand. Thanks for watching. Over to my colleague Akanksha Swaroop from Rastax.
Green Lamb Laminates presents CNN News 18 Primetime Studio.
A very good evening. You're watching Rastax. I'm Akanksha Swaroop and we're coming live to you from CNN News 18 Primetime Studio presented by Green Lamb Laminates. The Delhi police on Thursday arrested and deported a Bangladeshi national living in India under fake documents in an ongoing crackdown